Hi, I'm Jay Haynes for the Film Sensei YouTube channel. Today in this video, we are going to do part 3 of the 4-part series on how to do this Superman takeoff effect shot. Today, I will be working with an asset from Action VFX. Action VFX is a great source of stock footage, VFX, and resources. Action VFX creates top-of-the-line VFX assets for both professional artists as well as amateur filmmakers. Their assets have been used in such shows as Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, The Walking Dead, and NCIS. I will leave a link in the description below to their website. Use the coupon code SENSEIDISCOUNT to get 10% off anything that you buy from Action VFX. So the asset that we're going to be working with today will be Action VFX debris flying around the screen. So I have, in part 1, I did the Superman takeoff itself, and in part 2, I did the ground cracking. So I've rendered those into its own shot, and now I have the Superman takeoff from tutorial part 2 project file. What I'm going to do is right click on that and say make it into a composite shot. Click OK. And then I've created a folder in my media bin called Action VFX Debris. And you will notice that there are 6 items in here. Those 6 items are concrete debris front 1, 2, and 3, and also their shadows. So the front debris itself looks like this. It explodes, right? The shadow itself is the shadow of that debris exploding, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scrub through the timeline until I get to the point where the debris is getting ready to happen and the crack is getting ready to start. Okay. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to drag my number 1 in and its shadow in above the footage. So it's right there. And you can see that it's sitting back there and it's going to explode. I say it's sitting back there. It's actually sitting in the middle of the frame, okay? But that's in sort of the wrong place. So what we're going to do is we're going to move it. I could move them both separately, but a better way to do that would be to add a new point layer. And I'm just going to use my F2 key and relabel that number 1. And then I'm going to take the concrete debris and its shadow, and I'm going to parent it to point number 1. So now I can move point number 1, and it will move both the shadow and the debris at the same time, okay? And I think I want it to explode from about there, just like that. And that looks pretty good. Now you can see that this is called front because it explodes to the front. They have side debris and that kind of stuff. But what they don't have is back debris. Okay, so we're going to create our own back debris here by using front number 2. Okay, so I'm going to grab front number 2 and its shadow and drag it in and place it above the other 2. I'm going to create a new point layer that I'm also going to use, and I'm going to change the name of that to number 2. And just like I did before, I'm going to parent number 2 to the number 2 point. That way I can move the number 2. Now you can see that that is sitting back there now, or in the middle of the frame essentially, okay? But I don't want it to be there because then it'll end up being scattered where I don't want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down and over so that it's sort of straddling across my ground cracking here. But the problem is that when it starts, it's starting there, you see, and that's not exactly where, it's pretty obvious that that's what's happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to advance a couple of frames, maybe 3 frames, and then I'm going to grab all 3 of these and I'm just going to slide them back a little bit so that that explosion is essentially hidden by the first explosion, right, of debris, right, the front explosion. So now I have that second one. I want to add in my third layer, which is going to end up exploding and being back here. So if I grab 3 and I drag those here above the other 2 sets of debris, okay, and I go ahead and create a new point layer just like I did before. We'll rename it number 3, and we will parent that one. These are awesome assets from Action VFX. then I can go ahead and move that debris so that it is essentially sitting and it's sort of covering around the back. But if I come back far enough, then I can tell, yeah, it's kind of like there. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to, move forward enough where I think I can get away with it. And then I am going to just drag that back so that it's sort of hidden, right, by the extra, the debris of the front one there, okay? Yeah, like about there, okay? Now I can real quickly sort of, pull this back to the beginning and do a RAM preview, and it will end up looking like this. And that looks pretty good. All right, so now all I'm going to have to do is add in the dust effect that comes out of the crack here, as well as the sound effect and the camera shake. And we will be doing that in part 4 of this series. So if you have any questions or feedback, leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.